March 6, 2026. The world is plunged into chaos as war erupts between the United States, Israel, and Iran, shattering the fragile peace of the Middle East. What began as a promised swift operation has spiraled into a sprawling multi-front conflict, drawing in new actors and threatening global stability. Relentless bombing campaigns, missile barrages, and cyber attacks have turned cities like Tehran into war zones, with civilian suffering mounting by the hour. The conflict now stretches to NATO's borders and the Indian Ocean, shaking the foundations of global security and the world economy. As the death toll rises and the fighting widens, the world watches in dread, uncertain how far this chaos will spread. In the assassination of Supreme Leader Khamenei and senior officials. Instead of collapsing, Iran rallied under new hardline leadership, vowing retribution and uniting the nation in resistance. The Trump administration's shifting justifications, from stopping nuclear weapons to regime change, have only fueled confusion and skepticism at home and abroad. Secretary of State Rubio's slip that America was forced into war has intensified suspicions that Israel's interests are driving US actions. The hope for a quick, low-cost intervention has vanished, replaced by a bloody, unpredictable conflict with no clear endgame. In just days, the war has spilled beyond Iran, Israel, and Lebanon, threatening to drag Europe and NATO directly into the conflict. A US submarine sinking of an Iranian warship near Sri Lanka marks a brutal escalation, drawing international condemnation and highlighting the war's global reach. Relentless bombings have killed thousands and displaced millions, especially in Iran and Lebanon, while Israel's casualties remain far lower. The conflict's spread is fueled by alliances and proxy networks, with Iran's allies mobilizing and US bases worldwide drawn into the fight. As more nations are pulled in, diplomatic solutions grow ever more elusive. Outgunned by conventional military might, Iran has shifted its strategy to asymmetric warfare, focusing on the world's economic pressure points, most notably the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow passage that serves as a lifeline for global oil shipments. This strategic chokepoint is responsible for nearly a fifth of the world's oil supply, making it a critical artery for the global economy. Through mine-laying operations and relentless drone attacks, Iran has transformed the strait into a dangerous no-go zone. Maritime traffic has ground to a halt, causing oil prices to spike dramatically and sending shockwaves through energy markets worldwide. Despite urgent US efforts to reassure shipping companies and stabilize the region, these attempts have largely failed. The result is a deepening global energy crisis, with supply chains disrupted and economic uncertainty spreading far beyond the Gulf. Iran has also escalated by striking high-value US military assets, including the destruction of a billion-dollar radar system in Qatar and crippling communications at a key base in Bahrain. These attacks demonstrate Iran's capacity to inflict real strategic damage, even against technologically superior adversaries. Swarms of inexpensive Iranian drones are now overwhelming US and allied air defenses, forcing them to expend costly interceptor missiles in a grinding war of attrition that strains resources and readiness. American officials have publicly admitted they cannot intercept every drone, revealing the vulnerabilities that persist even within the world's most advanced militaries and raising concerns about future conflicts. Iran's tactics highlight how a weaker nation can exploit economic and technological weaknesses to level the playing field, reshaping the balance of power and forcing the world to confront new forms of warfare. As the war escalates and tensions reach a fever pitch, suspicions grow that some attacks blamed on Iran are actually false flag operations orchestrated by Israel, intended to manipulate perceptions and shift the balance of power in the region. These covert actions are believed to be designed to draw Western allies deeper into the conflict, making it harder for them to remain neutral or question the official narrative. Investigations reveal that a drone strike on a British base in Cyprus and a high-profile attack on Saudi Aramco's vital oil infrastructure were both falsely attributed to Iran, fueling widespread doubts about who is truly behind these provocations. The official story begins to unravel as more evidence surfaces. Historical precedents, like the Levon affair and the USS Liberty incident, add credibility to these allegations. deepening mistrust among allies and raising uncomfortable questions about the motives behind such operations. The idea that Israel might manipulate events to unify the West against Iran is explosive, threatening to unravel the fragile coalition. If allies begin to believe they're being deceived or used as pawns, support for the war could collapse almost overnight, undermining the entire campaign's legitimacy and casting a shadow over every military decision. In this fog of war, truth becomes the first casualty, and the conflict's moral foundation is shaken, leaving the world to question what is real and what is merely a carefully constructed illusion. In the US, public support for the war is eroding as the administration's shifting goals and soaring costs spark outrage. What began as a targeted mission has become a costly, open-ended conflict, with Americans questioning the rationale and the billion-dollar daily price tag. Gas prices have surged, and polls show most Americans now oppose the war, resenting the economic pain and lack of clear objectives. Congress is deeply divided, narrowly rejecting a war powers resolution to limit the president's authority, exposing partisan rifts and constitutional tensions. Allegations that the war serves Israel's ambitions rather than US interests fuel further controversy, challenging the administration's America First stance. The sense that American lives and resources are being spent for another nation's goals is deepening national divisions. This war's shockwaves are global. Energy prices are soaring, supply chains are breaking, and the cost of living is rising for millions of people. From the gas pump to the grocery store, everyday life is being disrupted in ways that few could have imagined just months ago. Businesses are struggling to keep shelves stocked, and economies everywhere are feeling the strain as uncertainty ripples across markets. US allies are questioning security guarantees as missile defenses are redeployed and military budgets are being reconsidered. Decades-old alliances and diplomatic ties are being tested, with leaders facing tough choices about trust and cooperation. The conflict is consuming resources and attention, forcing governments to divert funds and focus away from other urgent priorities. This makes it harder to tackle other global crises like climate change, public health emergencies, and poverty, which demand urgent action. For ordinary people, the war's human toll is inescapable. Grieving families, displaced children, and lives upended overnight. Shattered communities fill our screens, reminding us that behind every headline are real people facing unimaginable loss. The suffering in Tehran and Beirut is a stark reminder that conflict knows no borders and its consequences are far-reaching. These images reveal the real cost of geopolitical conflict: broken families, lost futures, and communities struggling to rebuild. This crisis shows how quickly regional wars can become global disasters, demanding critical thinking, international cooperation, and a renewed commitment to diplomacy, dialogue, and peace-building efforts. In a world this unpredictable, where tomorrow's headlines are never certain, resilience, compassion, and our shared humanity are more vital than ever before.